Hey everyone, I'm Meg from Loven Stamps and you are watching Maker Mornings with Meg. Today on episode 418, we are going to use the Joy of Noel stamp set and the coordinating dies and along with the Christmas Classics dies. Now these things are all retiring soon from this book right here. So make sure you're checking that last chance list for those things so you don't miss out. Everything I'm showing you today with the stamps and the dies and the paper are all on the last chance list. So they are things to be looking at shortly. And I think you're really going to like them. So we used these for a card recently. This is from episode like 414 or something like that. It's a Z-fold card, a real simple design. So we are going to revisit the diagonal diamond pop-up card, which is a really cool pop-up mechanism based on this same design. So this is a really simple design. Basically, you would use just a regular folded card and then you fold the front back to the spine so that you get this Z. And a lot of times I'll put a panel on the front. This is a 3x4 card, which you know is one of my favorites. Super easy design. And the nice thing about a Z-fold card like this is that the panel on the front stays visible when the card is open. So you like have your cake and eat it too kind of thing. You get to see the front and the inside at the same time. So then the next part of this sort of progression was this card here, where instead of using a 3x4 panel on the front of my card, I used a 4x5¼ panel, just like a whole big sheet. And this paper, this sort of sparkly there, I know it's hard to see, but that background paper there is the from the Joyful Designer Series paper. So this is from the holiday book too. All right, but we're gonna do another version today. We're gonna add a diamond pop-up in the center, which is a really fun mechanism also. So with that, you guys ready to get started on a great Christmas card? I know it's a happy pre-Friday to everyone since it's our Thursday video. And this is a great one if you're thinking about like a special Christmas card. This one's actually not too difficult. I know pop-up cards have this bad rap, like people look at them and they're like, it's gonna be so hard. It's really not bad, especially once you know the tips. So I'm gonna show you some assembly tips today that will really make a difference for you in getting it all put together. So now let's go ahead and start here with our card base. This is morning. Hey Becky, Tanya, Sue, good to see everybody. This is just a regular 5.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock. I've scored it in the middle and I've scored it, let's see, yeah, I guess this way. I've scored it halfway on the front panel, so that's like 2 1/8 if you're counting. But one of the things I love about this pop-up card is that there's no weird scoring on it. I love beautiful pop-up cards, and I've done some that are some of my most popular videos where you have to like cut but only partially and you're making boxes and stuff. But they are a little tricky, and this one is not. So this is for you if you like simple card ideas. Then you're going to take this front, and on this score line here, you're just going to fold that to the back. So there we have our basic Z fold. Okay, happy free Friday, Kelly. All right, so now you saw that the choices here, you could add a 3x4 panel on the front like this card. You could add a 4" by 5¼ panel like this card. I love, love, love this stamp set. This is Joy of Noel. And those dies are Joy of Noel and Christmas Classics. So we're going to do we're going to give it a pop-up in the center. Now, when you make the diamond pop-up card, you don't have to do this on the inside with the diagonal designer paper that I'm going to show you, but it really helps to emphasize the diamond shape. So I am a big fan of it. So I have a piece of the Joyful Designer Series paper. It comes in, I think there's 4 patterns here. It's this white paper here in the background with the gold foiled holly. There's the music notes, there's this wood grain, and there's this green. So this is a great paper for this time of year. And then it can extend beyond because that gold wood grain is going to be just really useful. And to make the corners, we're going to take a square, 3x3 square, and we're going to cut it corner to corner both directions. Oop, that shifted. All right, so I've got that, and then I'm gonna cut there. So see how now we have 4 pieces here ready to go. Get our trimmer out of the way, and I am going to use multi-purpose liquid glue for all of this pieces here. Now, I don't know about you. Are you guys glued to the corner people, or are you it's stuck down, that's good enough people? I think you can tell that I am a it's stuck down, that's good enough person. I try hard to give you guys like the heads up when something really has to be stuck well. But most of the time I just don't fret about it. But I know I get cards from people sometimes and I'm like, oh, this is so nicely glued. So I guess I do appreciate when it's all nicely down to the edges and so forth. But if it's stuck, I'm good. All right. So, speaking of that, I have mailbag cards to share with you. Let's see. I have this card, which came from Laura Burkett, and she sent this fun Christmas card here. So really simple, 3x3 squares of designer series paper, just matted with a beautiful greeting on the front. I love it. Just really nice card. And then this card was sent by Kelly Sheard. Kelly. So here's Kelly's very, very fun, festive truck card. I love this, Kelly. It's darling. And look, she got little, there's little rhinestones or little pearls on the tree there. And then just a really great use of the designer series paper. So thanks, Kelly. All right. Back to our card here. I'm easily distracted by the mail. So the next thing I'm going to do is add a panel. And I have one version that I'm going to show you at the end that features the Joy of Christmas designer series paper, I think is the name of it. It's not available, so I'm going to use the Joyful designer series paper instead. So it is available, and it has all these pretty gold foils and stuff on it. So we're going to go ahead and mount this here on the front. And this paper is just sized. It's nothing special. It's just sized to fit here on the front of our card. So it's, if you're counting 4 1/4 or 5 1/4 by 1 7/8, so that it just fits nicely framed in there. All right. And then to further emphasize the inside of our diamond card, we're going to take this piece of paper here. This is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And I'm going to use one of the accessory images here from the stamp set, Joy of Noel. Now, if you are not already a fan of Stampin' Up! Stamps, let me just reiterate that one of the best parts of them is that all the pieces to make a project come together. Tanya's glued to the corner. I know, you're so good, Tanya. So one of the great things about stamps coming in sets is that everything you need to make a whole card is included. So you have text and you have backgrounds and you have foreground, main focus images, some accessory things, usually like the little to from, but they all coordinate. So it's not like you have like a giant elephant and like, nothing to fit on the card with it. Or you have like, you'd have an elephant with leaves and a jungle and corresponding sized animals that match. Like the Stampin' Up! Stamp sets really take a lot of the guesswork and effort out of making projects so that everything just really comes together. So, oh yes, Kathy, I agree. The foils are so pretty. And thanks, Margaret. Okay, so just centering this piece right here in the center on the diagonal, that's going to help to emphasize our diamond shape too. All right, next thing we're going to do is grab the mechanism. So this one, it's actually a little taller. I think it's 1 1/4, but it doesn't really matter the size. 1 inch by 4 inches, 1 1/4 by 4 inches. What matters is that you're going to score it at 1, 2, and 3 inches and then fold so you get this shape here, okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to pinch it in half, and I'm going to put glue on both this panel and this panel. Now this is one of those you must glue well. So you can't skimp on gluing here. You would want to use Tear Tape or Seal Plus as alternate adhesives if you're not a multi-purpose liquid glue fan. But you want this glue to be strong because it's going to hold the mechanism of our card together. And here is my tip for lining it up and get everything straight. It's really dangerous to try to do things in the middle of the air. It's really easy in that case to make things crooked or have things not align. It is much easier to get things aligned if you do everything in 2 dimensions, everything flat. So all I've done was go ahead, I'm gonna show it to you in the air, but I wouldn't do it this way, is pop this piece in all the way to the card spine and then close the card on it. So now I know, I'm guaranteed that my card is gonna close properly to fit into the envelope, okay? There's nothing more frustrating than making a really great pop-up card and then getting to the end and realizing it doesn't close, so you can't put it in an envelope. This one does. All right, so you're gonna give that a second to bond, and then when you open it, you're gonna see that you have this little perfect box pop-up here in the center. Now this is a great mechanism for lots of different pop-up cards, and for this one, since you've closed it that easily, you know it's gonna be straight and you know it's gonna do exactly what you need. All right, so next part is I want to have an element that's gonna sit here. Now, I could tell you, the details of like how you have to do this, but I'm gonna make it really easy for you. Think about the fact that the box inside this card here is actually gonna take up about, well, it's 1 inch, right? Because we measured it to be 1 inch. But what you need to do is you need to trim off for your diamond panel that much, or plus or minus, from your piece here so that you can have room for your pieces to fit together. Now here's how you're gonna do this when you use your trimmer. You're gonna look across, because the Stampin' Up! Trimmer measures on both the left and the right side of the cutting. And so I'm gonna look for this 1 inch line here, and I'm gonna put my tip of my cardstock right here on 1 inch. Now, you could see here that I could easily cut this very crookedly. I want it to be a true diamond shape. So the easiest way to do that is to make sure that this tip and this tip are on a horizontal line. So what I'm doing is I'm looking and, 1 inch, making sure that my tip is the same distance down on both sides, okay? And then I'm gonna take a little bit more just to make sure that my card fits. The other thing you can do is you can line up tip here and tip here, then you know you're getting a straight line, okay? But either way, you wanna cut off a corner of your diamond. Square, I guess it's a square. This started off as 3 by 3, now it's a little smaller. So now you can see that I can slide this in here to my card and have it fit over. Now, for this, I like to put my glue or my tear tape kind of out here towards the edge in case I've cut a little bit more generously than I needed to. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slide this here in between these layers when I close it, and I'm going to pop this in, and then I'm going to align it on my card so that when my card is closed, this diamond is where I want it to be. Now this is an advantage of using multi-purpose liquid glue. You can slide this panel around a little bit once you've closed it. So, hey Margaret, hey Joan. Gosh, we're North Carolina to Washington this morning. We are across the country. So multi-purpose liquid glue, I use this so much that I know the number is 110755. I go through it like crazy, but definitely a perk for this kind of card is that you can reposition your pieces. So now that we've let that dry, you can see that we have this great pop-up mechanism here, okay? All right, and you can see here's the top view, kind of the side view, how that all kind of comes together to make that pop-up. So really simple. Now, on mine, I'm gonna show you really close so that I know somebody's gonna make this card and be like, it's a little crooked. You know what? Mine's a little crooked too. I don't really care. No one's gonna notice that. The most important thing is to have this panel square on your card on the front. And you notice that we stamped our inside here to the right. That's because some of that is gonna get covered up by our diamond pop-up. So you could write your little note on here and so forth. People could see it. But any extras you want to be out near the edge of your square. All right, what are we gonna put on the front of this card? We are going to pull this absolutely fantastic dies. Even if you don't get the Christmas Classics stamp set, which actually I don't have to show you this morning, but even if you don't have the stamp set, this die set is super fun. So this is a border die. There's a strip die to go in the center. I used the other one in here, this big square, to make this die right here. And the Christmas Classics are 10% off right now, actually. So definitely don't miss out on these. So what I'm gonna do is take this piece, but you'll notice that it is too large to fit on the front of our card. And if I put it over here, it's gonna cover up a lot of our panel. This is a really big die, which has its perks. It definitely was perfect when we did our scrapbook home decor piece. So remember this one right here, and we used this element right here. And the uses for it then are very, very wide. So it's a size that lends itself to different purposes. But for our purpose, it's too big. So what I'm gonna do is die cut this from a piece of old olive cardstock to give ourselves sort of another green here to accent our card. And I am going to go ahead and cut it on the edge of a piece of cardstock. So we're gonna end up with, ta-da, through the magic of television, this, okay? So now I need to take my trimmer and trim off that extra bit there. Hello, triangle. And so I'm just gonna line this up here and go ahead and trim that bit. I love what the trimmer just grabs onto that piece of paper when you close the little handle for it. So great stuff. And I think I got pretty close. I wonder, maybe I could trim a tiny bit more. Let's see. You know what? I'm not gonna worry about it. So there's a teeny bit extra here, but we're gonna let it go. And what I am gonna do though is go ahead and stamp our greeting to go with this. So I love the greeting in this stamp set, Making Spirits Bright. And what else are we gonna need from here? We're gonna need our large decor piece, and we are going to need our teeny holly berries and our holly leaf. So let's get those all mounted here. Now, remember on a stamp like this, you want to make sure that you are just setting it on the table and picking it up with your block. That's how you're gonna get it straight. You're not gonna get a bend in the stamp, okay? And especially when you want something to be sort of a straight line, or like this one, you know you're gonna have to die cut it. You wanna make sure that your photopolymer stamp hasn't gotten all wonky bent when you are mounting it on your block. Okay, so Making Spirits Bright. Let me go ahead and ink this one up and stamp here. And I managed to get the edges, okay, focus, make the edges of it not to get very well inked. So what I'm gonna do is march my stamp across here for round 2. And then I know that I'm evenly inked all the way across my greeting, okay? Much nicer. All right, and then this is gonna be fit on here, but I kind of want to add some decoration to the end. So I'm going to use my shaded spruce ink, which is a color I have so embraced this season. And then the holly berries there to add like a little accent there at the end of our pieces. So now it's too long for this element. It doesn't fit on here with the matching die, but I'm not too concerned. So instead, I'm gonna go ahead and trim this. And if you know any paper crafters, you're looking for holiday gifts, trimmer and some extra blades is always a perfect gift. So everybody can use a great trimmer. All right, so there we have our piece split down. And now it fits nicely on our paper. And at the very bottom, I'm going to pop this on. Now in the US, I think the date that got put out is December 11th is the last day to order and have things in time for putting under a tree on December 25th. So don't wait too long if you are still planning on getting Christmas gifts. And then we're gonna take this and line this up here. Okay. All right. Now I didn't actually pop out all of the paper pieces on here. There we go. Just a little trick on that. If you just give your cardstock a little flex, just a tiny bend, then all those little chads will pop out really easily. So, all right. So now we have our piece here, and I'm going to grab some dimensionals to pop on the back. And then we're gonna do the element that goes in the center of our pop-up card. One of the great things about this design is that you get like lots of different panels to show off different pieces of a stamp set or different little creations or whatnot. So we have the front here with this cool die cut. We have our panel in the middle, and then we have our stamping on the inside. So let's go ahead and do our stamping for the middle. And someplace here, I have a piece of basic white cardstock. Let's see. Do you guys do this? I keep all my extra pieces here in the bottom of my cardstock bag so that I have them. And then I'm going to go ahead and use, instead of black for our background, I'm going to use basic, pebbled path. I thought I was using basic gray. I'm using pebbled path. Either way, sometimes I like to have an outline that's not stark black. So pebbled path is a great neutral for adding to this project. So this has a nice sort of grayish, brownish, pebbly color, and this is one of the in colors from this year if you don't have those yet. So, all right, so I've got this stamped, and I think you guys would probably like to see a little bit better. Let's see. There we go. So let's come in here a little closer for our coloring. And this is one of those projects that is great for Stampin' Blends. Now, Stampin' Blends, I'll get them lined up here. They come in pairs, a light and a dark for each color. And so they are great for doing shading in multiple, lights and darks and adding extra blending and shaping. But our stamp here is really quite, it's quite tight. And there's a lot going on our card. So I am actually not, going to do any shading. I am just going to go ahead and color and just sort of leave these single tone. And there's nothing wrong with that. So the nice thing about using Stampin' Blends for this is that you get this super saturated, beautiful color. And then remember, of course, that you have great choices for the tips of your Stampin' Blends, whether you want to use the big wide brush tip, which is really my go-to for almost everything, or you want to use the narrow bullet tip, which helps you just do real fine lines or real fine shading and so forth. So now on this evergreen sprig here that is to my left, I'm going to do my favorite evergreen coloring, which is basically do a swipe up the middle and then a few out towards the edges. And then it gives you the appearance of coloring without actually having to, fiddle with every bit. And then we have these deciduous leaves. There's our 10-cent word for the day. Our deciduous leaves, and we're going to color them in the lighter green. When you use a color on a card, you always want to repeat it. So when I've got this Old Olive cardstock layer on the front of our card, then I want to make sure I add Old Olive someplace else so that we have those colors to really support each other, okay? Otherwise it can look like, why did you use that color, Meg? Why didn't you use something different? So you want to support your colors by giving them multiple places that they appear on your card. All right. So here I have the die that works with this. So this is from the Joy of Noel stamp set here, which has the fun Noel words and the letters to go with them, and then a lot of great greenery, including this sprig here that's going to match our die. So I'm going to line this up here, and do you guys leave washi tape on your dies, or do you clean the washi tape off every time? I don't know. I can see where it is a little messy to leave the washi tape on all the time. Plus, this piece of washi tape is no longer large enough to hold the piece down. So maybe I should clean this one off and start over. But I do find it kind of convenient to not have to freshly washi tape every single time. All right, so Through the Magic of Television is not available right at the moment because I didn't do this one ahead of time. So, die cutting here in short order. So also very quick, run through my die cut machine, and there is our piece here ready to rock and roll on our card, which is actually one of the suites coming up in the new catalog in January. Rock and roll, it's a great one. All right, so I'm going to pop a couple of dimensionals on the back here, and we are going to tuck this inside our card. So I'm going to go ahead and pop it on right here. And so now we have a really fun, probably get a little more space here, zoom in or out. There we go. a really fun pop-up card. So this is a diamond diagonal pop-up card, which really shows off several different images or elements from a stamp set or a suite. And I love this with this gold foiled paper. So a really pretty card. I promised you, if you have the Joy of Christmas paper, here is another version of the card using Joy of Christmas. So you can see on the background, I use that red buffalo check here and the green sort of buffalo check there on the front. And otherwise, they are the same kind of idea here. So you can see lots of cool possibilities for making this fun pop-up card. I have one more to show you with this one, and it is a card that I showed in a previous episode from November. This was the Winter Owls one, and Winter Owls is still available if you haven't gotten that one yet, but the distressed gold paper I think is still available. If not, it's in the annual catalog, so it'll be back. And the Shining Brightly paper that I've used in the background on this one's not available any longer, but you could certainly adapt this for a different designer series paper, such as Joyful with these pretty gold accents. So, all right, everybody. I think that covers us. Let's see. I can't see. I had to take my glasses off. So I think that covers us for this beautiful Friday. I'm glad you're excited about this card, Nikki. And yes, Sue is right. Understanding the mechanism makes all the difference on getting one of these cards together. It's really not difficult. It's just the tips for making sure that everything's straight and square when you put it together. And remember to assemble in 2 dimensions, in 2D, so keep it flat on the table when you're assembling. You made the score lines parallel using either the Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer or the Stampin' Up! Simply Scored tool, which honestly makes the best parallel score lines ever. So this one right here. I didn't put that in the video description supply link, so you'll have to remember to add that. But once you've made the score lines parallel on your mechanism, you know that just folding flat will give you a card with, square edges that aren't gonna get all wonky and so forth. And it'll fit in the envelope. Louise said, where do you write your message on this beautiful card? Well, that is the beauty. Sometimes you need a card with not a lot of room for a message. And so I would write it just right here on the white. Love to you from our family. Hope your holiday's going well. You might have to write small, but yeah, you could write there. I've seen where some people on cards like this will add a panel like in this back part here if you really want to write more, or even on the back of the card. I actually was meant to show you guys this a couple times. I pulled this out. If you haven't seen the limited edition stamp set, this is a great one for marking the back of your card. So here, I'll see if I can get this to focus. I'm going to switch the camera back because this one focuses so much better. Not that one, that one. This is the limited edition stamp set. So it's perfect for putting on the backs of your cards. And it has, handcrafted from the heart, one of a kind creation, a paper hug from me, which I've used on the front of a bunch of cards. Limited edition, hand stamped just for you, made with love. Now, if you're wondering about all these little copyright Stampin' Up! Images, they're here in this set because limited edition is a stamp set that helps you to fulfill the angel policy. So Stampin' Up! Obviously owns the copyright on all of their amazing their designer series paper. If you want to sell things that use their copyrighted images that you've made, you certainly can. They ask that to fulfill the angel policy, you put a little stamp like on the back of your card or on the package someplace that says copyright Stampin' Up! To just acknowledge that the copyright on the imagery is owned by Stampin' Up! But anyway, I really like the stamp set just for, Hallmark puts their name on the back of the card. Why don't we always put our names on the backs of our cards? So stamp your envelope, stamp inside your card, stamp the back of your card. So we should add that to our list. All right, everybody, happy pre-Friday. Have a wonderful day. And I will be back on Tuesday with another Maker Mornings with Meg and another huge haul from the upcoming books. These guys right here. Soon to be released, available now for demonstrators on pre-order. And so if you want to not wait for these things, visit my website, learn more about joining my Stampin' Up! Family with ordering the starter kit. And if you're content to wait, you can just see what we've got here on Tuesday for Maker Mornings with Meg. And then these will actually begin on January 4th for ordering. So in the meantime, lots of great things to check out from the Last Chance product list and so forth. So hope you're having a great day, and I look forward to hearing that you've been creative over the weekend. So happy stamping, everybody. Thanks for watching.